So if you're a new mum and you talk with other mums, I'm pretty sure that every mum in the room will agree that motherhood, or generally parenthood, comes with sacrifice. And obviously, I think most people know what they're signing up for. When they decide to be parents, they are aware that there's a sacrifice. And obviously, I mean, you're not naive. Uh, Before you had a child, I'm very sure most people are aware that there is sacrifice that will happen. Time is obviously one of the biggest sacrifices, really. I mean, you just had so much, you don't realize how much free time you had on your hands until you've become a parent. Time for yourself, for your friends, for your family, for your partner, just time to be yourself, really. That's like almost the biggest sacrifice. Then there's obviously lots of other sacrifices about, not being spontaneous enough, or you can't go out and meet friends that easily. You can't just go to the cinema, things like that. Even to a restaurant. I mean, you can take a baby to a restaurant, but I think every new mom can agree that it might be a little bit challenging, or you might not enjoy your meal as much as you would, obviously, without a little bundle of joy next to you who wants all your attention. So, I mean, it's no news. Motherhood or parenthood means sacrifices, and I think most of us are absolutely willing to take them because that comes with motherhood, and we sign up for that, and we're okay because once you have your baby, you understand that sacrificing these things that you thought used to be important, it's not that much of a sacrifice after all. But what I noticed as well is there is a difference between sacrificing something um, and giving something up completely. And what is a little bit concerning is I think a lot of mums, especially when you're a first time mum, if you never had children before, so all of that is new to you, um, you sometimes begin to think that you, the person you were before you had your baby, doesn't exist anymore. It is actually an issue that that really matters to me because yes, I am a mother now, so of course I'm not exactly who I used to be 6 months ago, and I understand that, or even before the pregnancy. So you become a mum, you take on that new role, and you sign up for that, and of course you understand that all of that means you're leaving the old you behind and you start a life, a chapter as a new you. But I find that a little problematic because I think just because you wake up one day and you're a mum now, does that really erase who you used to be before that? Like all the years leading up for you to be a mum and starting that new chapter, does that really erase or the other 20 or 30 or however old you are, years, does it erase all of that and who you used to be just to start this new chapter? For example, if you get married, that's a new chapter in your life, right? Does that mean that the person that you used to be before you were a wife doesn't matter anymore, is erased? No, it doesn't, because that's just a new chapter in your life. And you start that new chapter, but you're still you, just married. But there seems to be this overall idea that once you become a mum, you're not, you're basically giving up who you used to be. I'm not talking about you giving up a few things, like I said before, time is a big thing. Giving up the luxury of being spontaneous, of going shopping for hours, of going to the cinema, all that stuff. Of course, you kind of give up these things, at least for the first couple of months. I mean, that means that doesn't mean that you can never do these things again. Of course you can, but obviously in the first months it's a bit tricky. Um, and that's fine. But what I'm saying is society really, or everyone around us really expecting us to not be the person that we used to be, to not feel that the same way that we used to? I think because you make so many sacrifices to begin with, and everything is just absolutely completely new, and you have to get used to everything, and that's very, very daunting in the beginning. And on top of all that new stuff and all of that stuff that you have to learn, is it really okay to lose yourself? Is it really okay if people expect you to give up who you used to be that new person, which is a mum now? I think you can still be you who you used to be and still be a mum on top of that. Like I said, of course I changed a little bit, but I haven't lost who I am initially, because I was thinking that the other day, because you don't really have time for your hobbies anymore. So my hobbies, my main hobbies used to be reading and writing. See, I'm even talking in the past form. Used to be. Uh, so whenever I had free time, I love writing. So I've always written novels, stories, and things like that. And I love reading. Obviously, the last 6 months, I haven't picked up a book, or maybe, I mean, I read the news, yeah, but not like really picked up a book to read and just relax. And I haven't really had the time to write anything, because obviously if I start a project, or if I'm in the middle of a project, I'm in that, writing rhythm, and I feel inspired. And everybody who, writes understands that time is important as well, that you have time to really get into it, to get inspired, to just, you know, get in the zone basically. I haven't had that, obviously, especially in the first months. I were absolutely chaotic with my baby. Um, Now that she is getting a bit calmer, but she's still only 6 months old, so I can't just sit around for hours and say to my husband, "You take her." I have to sit down and start writing. So I was thinking about my hobbies and how I used to do them and how I don't have that time anymore. And then I was thinking about those hobbies were part of me and my identity. And you kind of associated almost your personality with these hobbies. Like if you enjoy singing, dancing, making music, artsy stuff or non-artsy stuff, whatever your hobbies were before you became a mum, I'm sure you didn't lose that interest just because you have a baby now. I'm sure you still would like to pursue your hobbies, but obviously you don't have the time anymore. But just because you have less time now and at the moment can't pursue your hobbies as much as you'd like to, that shouldn't make you feel like you have to give up who you were before the baby, before you became a mother. And I don't think it is right from people on the outside to suggest, well, this is your life now. You wanted this. You're a mum now. Forget who you used to be. All you are is a mother. I think you being a mother is now the main thing. Being a mother is the center of your life, really, now. It is your main job. It is. Um, but you should still not forget who you used to be before, and not forget that you used to have hobbies, and nobody has the right to think that because you're a mum now, you can't be that person anymore that you used to be. You lived your entire life being that person, and then you just wake up one day and that has to just be, forgotten, erased, just move on with your life. It's a new life now. I mean, a baby and that whole new role as a mother is just an addition to your life and an extension. Your life is growing, basically. It's picture it like a book. It is basically all those chapters before leading up to this main chapter now, which is now your motherhood. But again, it's not the one and only chapter in this book, and it will not be the last one, because your entire life doesn't just lead up to be a mum and then finishes there and that's the rest. That's the end of your life, basically. Obviously, from now on, your life has changed and will change, but all these chapters before leading up to that moment, they still matter. The book couldn't have been written if it just consists of this middle part, which means the chapter of the motherhood. It needs a beginning and it needs chapters leading up to it. Then you have this massive middle part, and then you've got an end. We don't know what happens in the end, obviously. All I'm saying is motherhood is a massive chapter, probably the most important chapter in your entire life. And I understand that you sometimes don't feel like yourself anymore, like who you used to be. I'd almost say you grieve a little bit for that person who you used to be, because that's all you knew. That's all you ever knew. That person who you used to be before you had a baby. That was you, with all your hobbies and interests and everything that mattered in your life. That's what you knew for so many years. And suddenly, almost from one day to the next, that completely stopped. And you suddenly have to adjust to the idea that all of that is just the past now and it's gone. And it's not true, because just because you start motherhood and you have a baby, does that really mean that you can't still enjoy the same things that you used to do 9 months ago, or however long it's been that you had a baby? It's not. It's still you. And sometimes, in a sense, you might be grieving the person who you used to be, because that person is literally just like shoved under the rug. It's just like, bye, gone. I will never be that person again. But I think that's where a lot of people are going wrong, because I understand, like I said, you don't at the moment have the time to be that person, and your baby needs you to be a mum, to be their mum, to be always there for them. But you can still be a mother and still have time for your baby and still be the person who you used to be. Motherhood is this massive chapter in your life. And yeah, I guess in a way all the chapters have been leading up to it. But that doesn't mean that these chapters don't matter anymore. And the chapters after motherhood don't matter. It's this whole book that matters, isn't it? But yeah. Your daughter's just done a massive poop. Great, that's on video now. I have to cut that out. And I understand that a lot of mums will probably be coming at me saying, well, that's still what you sign up for. Your whole life now is going to be motherhood, and your whole life will be revolving around your baby. I understand that. All I'm saying is, you can be a mother, but you can also still be the person who you used to be. Maybe not with as much free time as you had before. I understand you probably won't have as much free time. I understand that you can't be exactly who you used to be. All I'm saying is you shouldn't be grieving that person, because you shouldn't even be saying goodbye to them in the first place. You shouldn't say goodbye to your old you. You should embrace the new chapter. You should accept it as basically probably the biggest chapter of your life. But it is not your only chapter, and you can still enjoy your hobbies. Maybe at the moment you don't find the time, at some point you will, and those hobbies are still an important part of your life. Doesn't mean that you're any less of a mum because you enjoy reading, or because you like to watch a film, or because you like to go dance class every Tuesday evening, things like that. It doesn't make you a bad mum if once in a while you like to do things that do not include your baby, that once in a while you like to do things that you used to really, really enjoy before you became a mum. You can still be you and be a mum, and there's nothing selfish about once in a while enjoying hobbies that don't revolve around your baby. There's absolutely nothing selfish about that. It's just who you used to be for God knows how many years, and nobody can expect you to just stop immediately one day and no longer do or enjoy any of these things. It's just not realistic, people. It just isn't. And that nobody should be feeling guilty about it. You are still you, and you're entitled to your hobbies and your feelings and your emotions that you used to have before you had a baby. You still are the same person who feels the same way. Just a lot has changed in your life. And being a mother doesn't mean to compromise your own happiness. If anything, if you're happy with yourself and within yourself, that transfers to your baby so much better than someone who just completely gives up absolutely who they used to be just for that baby, and then you're cranky and you miss who you used to be. You're grieving that person, and you might even sometimes grow resentful. So that only backfires. So there's absolutely nothing to feel guilty for. It's just one massive new chapter in your life, but that doesn't mean that all those years before, all your other chapters that were all leading up to this one, don't matter. Okay?